Thanks for that lovely welcome note. I guess Mr. Ray actually summarized what exactly we're going to be talking about, through this evening, right? Perhaps yours should have been the last where you could have, said whatever you said. It is actually summarizing everything, right? Let me now try to, build on that and see how we can take it forward. Now, when we talk about CX and we talk about AI, Mr. Ray talked about, the human part, right? Somewhere we forget the AI has been made by a human. So it's the HI, which is the human intelligence, who actually enabled AI. Right? People say in the market that now AI will take your job. Right? I would say people who know how to use AI will take your job for sure. Right? Because yes, AI is helping us a lot across the globe. Right? India is on the verge of actually disrupting this entire piece. You look at Silicon Valley. Recently we were there, and all the startups that we met there. Most of them, if I'm not wrong, 95%, were Indians, right? Who are disrupting the entire Silicon Valley with the AI, Gen AI, whatever you want to talk about, right? And then we come to India and we say, hey, still, people are figuring out, where to use AI, how to use it, should we use it, or at times there are discussions where let's use AI because the board wants it. It is not the customer who is wanting it, but it's the board who is wanting it. And when we talk about CX, the first word in CX is customer. Right? So you really want to implement AI for your board or the customer. Right? That's a basic thing, right? And as Mr. Ray said, old school. I would want to go back to basics. Right? The basic is that the customer is paying us for whatever we are doing. Right? And hence, before we actually jump into, some of the use cases that I have for you, let me talk about a particular process. I started my career with a company called G. In G, this was told to us, for anything and everything, make a process. If you make a process, it will work. If you don't make it, you will just do it and then forget about it. Right? So this is a 5-step process that we have implemented at Bajaj, to ensure each and every project of ours has to go through this, has to pass this test, right, before we actually say that yes, we are ready to invest. And if any of the projects is not meeting these 5 steps, that doesn't get approved. The first important step, we're talking about customer experience, basics. Listen in to your customers. You have to start with that. Don't start with a thing that, I want to do this. No. Is your customer really wanting or needing this? That is what you need to look at. When you have this VOC of the customer, right, typically what we do, we look out for the stated needs. Right? For example, insurance company. A stated need could be, from an insurance claim standpoint, my claim should be paid on time. I'm not happy with the claim service. Right? You are charging too much. Right? All those VOCs will come. Right? And typically what you do, you'll go ahead and try and do something around that stated need. What you are really missing out is the unstated part of it. And I'll talk about a use case, how we have actually solved the unstated part. Right? But you need to look at both the stated and unstated. And when you have this data, actually AI can help you a lot to figure out the unstated part of it, which a normal human being brain perhaps will not be able to figure out in those Excels. The third step. The third step. When you have the list of all the stated and unstated needs, review what you already have in terms of your processes, technology, system. customer, what is the customer unstated and stated need, and now you have implemented something, is the customer really happy about it or not? And then go again through this process and then figure out that entire continuous improvement that we talk about. And again, back to basics. I'm not talking any rocket science here. Some of you might be thinking, some keynote speaker has come, he's just talking some basics. But frankly, guys, in today's world, we are forgetting the basics. Because if the basics are not there, no AI, no Gen AI, no new buzzword that we're going to talk about can help you guys. Straight through, let me now get through some real use cases, right? Because I actually don't want to give you any global gyan, right? I am not an astrologer, so I can't predict the future, right? So I talk about something which we have done, right? And this is one example where there is actually no technology. There is no AI, no Gen AI. It's a simple human. And this is one use case when I talked about the unstated need. When we looked at the data, we realized that when a customer is a patient in a hospital, it is not that patient or customer who's going through that entire claims experience. It is actually the attendant. It could be a friend, could be a wife, husband, father, mother, could be anyone. Do we really care about that guy? No. Why? He or she is not my customer. My customer is the patient. I should take care about my customer, right? But that is the unstated part of it. Right? Because when that customer gets discharged, this attendant VOC will become the customer VOC. Right? So this is what we realized when we looked at the data in both unstated and stated needs, that VOC post the claims experience at the hospital is actually not coming from the customer, it is coming from the attendant. So what we did, a simple solution. We said, we'll have a care angel at the hospital. Patient gets admitted, this care angel meets the attendant and tells, you take care of the patient and I'll take care of the rest. There is no SOP for this guy. We are not making this guy slave of the process. I just landed, just half an hour back. I was in Bombay, in one of the hospitals, where we have this care angel. And I met one of the patients. This guy actually came from Patna to Bombay to get a surgery done. Right? So when I entered the room, he was all alone. Right? The surgery went well, everything was, he was in that entire recovery period. I was curious. I just said, sir, you don't have any attendant with you? So he smiled and said, "Nahi, mera bhai aaya hai." Okay, sir, can we meet him as well? नहीं, वो तो बॉम्बे घूमने गया। आपका केयर एंजल मेरे पास है, मेरे को क्या जरूरत? There is no SOP around this, no. I would have never written this in the SOP that if the attendant is not there at the hospital for the patient, as a care angel, you are supposed to take care of the patient. But this guy is doing it. Right? No technology, nothing, just simple human touch. Now, why I actually bought this example in an AI summit is that typically when we look at all these buzzwords, we tend to get shaped by, for each and everything, there has to be some AI, some technology. Else, my boss or the CFO will say, what's the big deal? What are you doing about it? But it's not always about that. And that's why the process that we talked about. Right? Look at the best thing, which suits the end objective. With that, let me now straight away come to AI. The most successful use case in India for AI has been bots. Mr. A was talking about COVID. When COVID happened, an example, call centers were shut. Right? There was no BCP for call centers at that point in time. While prior to COVID, many of us would have said, I have a BCP. One in Gurgaon, one in Pune, one in Hyderabad. And as a partner also, I have 2 partners who are doing it and all those things. What happened? All that was shut overnight. only bots at that point in time, and specifically putting the chatbot on WhatsApp. Change the game. It's changed the game for most of us. Now when you look at Bajaj Allianz today, 1 out of every 2 customers of ours is using our bots. Be it a chatbot or a voice bot. And if I were to tell you, Indian farmer, because we have agri insurance as well. An Indian farmer who has a crop insurance, if there is a claim that he has to make, 94% of the Indian farmers who are our customers, they are happy to talk to a bot. Only 6% where the bot is failing, right, goes to the human. That is what is changing, with the entire AI and with the help of Gen AI as well. Because Gen AI can actually give you that on-the-fly, language conversion, right, which actually helps when you talk about the entire farmers, right, because we are talking in their language. Right? So this has been one of the most successful, be it customer experience, be it taking care of the OPEX, right? I don't need to, for example, if let's say there is a flood in Maharashtra, I will be flooded with the calls in my call center because the government says that a farmer needs to report a claim within 72 hours of the loss. Which means what? So many farmers will be calling. Now, I cannot have bench to take care of that. Right? There was a time when this call volume for us, from our farmers, went up by 4,000%. Nobody can actually plan that piece, right? But bot, look at that scalability. I actually don't need it. There is some political angle also. If I am not able to, register the claim on time, because then the opposition party will question the ruling party that you two guys don't want to pay the claims. But the reality was that the respective call center was not equipped to take on those many calls. But today, all that is vanished. This was for us the biggest achievement, right? Because this was the toughest nut to crack, and we said, let's do the heavy lifting when it came to voice bots, right? If this works, then the other line of businesses and use cases are cakewalk for us, and that's what actually happened. Let's move ahead. Insurance Sanju. We all know insurance TNCs, right? I'm sure if I were to ask all of you, most of you would not be aware about the policies that you are having, be it a life insurance or a general insurance, what all fine prints are there. Right? In case of a need, then you will recall, oh, let me just check whether this is covered or not. Right? So this is our step using technology. This is powered by AI. What we have done is, it's a beta version that we have launched right now. It's a portal called insurancesanjo.com. Any policyholder can go onto this portal. It's not only about badging. If you have any other insurance policy also, you can go onto this portal, just upload your document, and the game is on. Right? This bot, powered by Gen AI, now demystifies the entire insurance policy of yours the way you want it. Again, scalable, not for the board, but for the end customer. To solve the end objective of taking away that entire myth about, insurance companies do not pay claims. Whereas the reality is, we as insurance companies, our only job is to pay claims. Nothing else. But yes, I'll add a word there, only the genuine claims. Because a country like India, we do have some bad elements, which will come the way and say that, I want to defraud. And typically these are soft frauds, right? Frankly speaking, these are not really hard frauds in insurance. Let me just move ahead quickly and play a small video for you guys.
मैडम, अरे ध्यान से चलाना चाहिए आपको। हाँ? देखा देखा, मैंने कहा था ना कि लड़की होगी।
मैडम, मैं कुछ हेल्प करूं क्या आपकी?
ठोक दी। अरे चलिए मैडम, आपको गैराज तक छोड़ दूं।
यहाँ गाड़ी ठुक गई और इनको सेल्फी लेनी है।
अरे इनको एल मार्क लगा के चलानी चाहिए गाड़ी।
हेलो मैम, क्या आप ठीक हैं? क्या मैं आपकी कुछ मदद कर सकता हूँ?
नहीं नहीं, यहाँ तो बहुत लोग हैं मदद करने के लिए। तू बता ना, बता दे यहाँ क्या हो रहा है। अरे कहाँ गया भाई? हेलो, अरे आप बता दीजिए यहाँ क्या चल रहा है। क्या हुआ? आप बता दीजिए। एक्सक्यूज मी, क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पर? नहीं
मैम, आपने तो सारा प्रोसेस अकेले कर लिया। आई विल टेक केयर ऑफ द रेस्ट।
ओके। हाँ पापा, वो गाड़ी का थोड़ा सा एक्सीडेंट हो गया है। नहीं नहीं, टेंशन वाली कोई बात नहीं है, मैंने संभाल लिया।
इस वुमेन्स डे इन स्टीरियोटाइप्स पे लगाएं ब्रेक, क्योंकि हम जानते हैं रोड पर आए कोई भी मुश्किल कॉन्फिडेंस से वो संभाल लेगी। A message by Bajaj Allianz General Insurance, proud supporter of women car owners with our 24/7 sport assistance. We are caringly yours because you are special.
So this is another example which we call motor on the spot claim settlement powered by AI. We are in a business of paying claims for the last 2 decades, which means we have the data. Yes, there is structured data and unstructured data, if you want to get into the technical part of it, right? But we have the data, right? So what we did, we took that data, put it onto the cloud. We were the first general insurance company in Asia to get our entire policy admin onto the cloud, right? So we put it onto the cloud, right? And then hooked various external data sources. For example, in this case, one of the external data sources is the current cost of a particular part, right? And then on top of that, we deployed AI. Now, input to that entire AI program was, of course, the data. And from a customer standpoint, it was those images. Now, for those images, we used photogrammetry, coupled it with AI, and passed on those attributes to the program. In simple words, that program looked at the historic data, looked at the current damage, correlated, within few seconds, gave an offer to the customer that for this damage, we are ready to pay X amount. Customer agrees, payment systems in India is too advanced, instantly the money is there in the customer's bank account. So gone are those days where you need to take the vehicle to the garage, wait for the surveyor to come, there will be some negotiations, right? There will be, some workshop things also will happen, which I'm not going to talk about, right? But we have actually taken away all that, right? So today, as we speak, a claim up to 30,000 rupees can be settled on the spot using this service. And we are increasing this amount, because the entire data, AI, you can't expect AI model to give you the results on day one to the best objective, right? There is a period that you need to, keep in mind. But yes, the whole thing is, when we started this, right, to the point that I was making earlier, are you doing it for the board or are you doing it for the customer? And one thing is very clear in our group, the entire Bajaj FinServ group, that if you want to leverage any technology, don't do it for a hobby. Do it only if you can scale it up. You may fail, that's okay, But the initial objective with that you are starting, it has to be the scale. If you can't achieve that scale, do not try and do those small experiments just to please the board that this company is doing something about the new technology, is not sitting like ducks. While I said I am not the astrologer, right? But I do have my bit on the future. Keeping in mind AI, I have 3 V's for you. I believe that if any organization has these 3 V's as part of their overall strategy for the future, it's safe. And the reason for that is, first, when we look at our entire India, we have the highest number of young population. And when we talk about the future, 3 years, 5 years from now, this young population will become the customers of ours for each of the brands. Now, what are these guys doing right now? They don't have patience, right? They are all over social media. Instagram Reels, right? Technology, they are embracing it, right? They are okay, to talk to Google. They are okay to talk to Siri, right? So for that, the first V is voice. The entire conversational AI, of course, Gen AI plugins being there, is going to be the future. You have to look at moving, your repetitive kind of use cases, right? And don't be afraid, like I gave you that example of farmers. If a voice bot can work for the farmers at an accuracy of 94%, I mean, we are just bluffing that it's not going to work. The second, simple, video. If you are not there on those social media platforms with the videos, interactive videos, right, and Gen AI can help you generate those videos at scale. It can help you personalize those videos, right? For example, we have created, an avatar of our CEO, okay? And that avatar basically is a welcome message to our customers and partners. We are also using it for our employees on their birthday, wishes, their work anniversaries, welcoming them to the organization, right? But it creates a lot of personal touch while being digital, right? So videos should be part of your future strategy. Then comes the third one, keeping Bharat in mind. If you will not talk in your customer's language, gone are those days where you will succeed. And we all know the growth lies in those small towns and villages right now, right? With the entire 4G, 5G, and we are talking about the 6G also coming in very shortly, right? So technology in those areas is not a problem, right? So you have to embrace this, right? And Gen AI again here is the savior, right? You can do a on-the-fly, language conversion, and it's actually a no language barrier kind of a solution, right? So that's what I say the 3 V's strategy for the future. And with that, scaringly yours, Ankit Goenka for you. Thank you. If I have time, and if they want to ask any questions, if I have not bored you guys, even if I bored you, you may still want to ask questions to, get something out of it.
Very interesting, Mr. Goenka. Quite insightful.
Thank you.
There is one use case that you talked about on the spot.
Claim settlement.
On the spot inspection and
Claim settlement.
Claim settlement. The photographs, usually would capture the exterior part, but the damages could be much interior. How this assessment AI takes care of it.
That is the trade secret. And that is where AI actually is helping. Because see, when you have a particular model make, right, and you have the data of a similar kind of a damage in the past, right, and you have that data which says that if this kind of damage has happened, and I'm correlating it with some of the other images that I have, then that AI's program is working in saying that, hey, this appears to be much closer to let's say, these three cases in the past, where we have not only taken care of the damage externally, but there has been an internal damage, let's say, of a radiator, which perhaps has not come out, in a photograph, right? So there we know, right, that this cost, instead of 15,000 rupees, now will be 30,000 rupees. Okay? So we are not, when we are giving this offer to the customer, we are not specifying that we are giving you for this, 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 and this. No. We are basically saying, we give you 30,000. Right? The claim is now settled. Now, wherever you want to take that car and get it repaired, you pay directly. That is not a claim now. Your claim is now settled and closed.
So user still has an option to go to the garage and get the assessment done and find out what is the exact cost of repair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that empowerment, that decision making is, of course, with the customer. We don't force fit and say, no, you have to take this 30,000. No. If you're not comfortable, please get into that hassle, take the car to the garage, get the assessment done. Whatever will be the assessment, accordingly we'll agree.
Thank you.
But there also we use technology of AI, because when the surveyor visits, that surveyor also is now taking a video, not only the images. But our endeavor is to get to that. However, we know that we can't get to that on day one. You have to train the AI model, and there has to be a human intelligence, correcting that and saying, okay, this is, 90% okay, this is 95% okay, this is 100%. And the day, the model is, close to 100%, we'll completely automate that. Absolutely.
Good insights, but my question is that on the Kisan claims, so I'm guessing it's a voice bot, not a chat bot.
It's a voice bot. And a chat bot as well. It's both the things, but yeah, voice bot is something which the farmers are actually liking it.
So it must be in vernacular because across the nation. So on the, settling on the claims on the voice bot, but is it a hybrid model? Because if it gets stuck somewhere, there's not a human interface which we
That is where 6%.
So 94%
94% is end-to-end, the farmer is talking to the bot. It is those 6% where it is getting stuck because of, let's say, it's a new scenario which has come up, the bot is not trained, so it is failing.
Deflecting it to the human agent.
But it's a very seamless handshake between the bot and the human waiting, 24/7 for that, call to land.
The next question would be, if you implemented this, have you seen an improvement in the ROI vis-a-vis this calls being done by a voice bot versus having human agents?
It's a straight day one, right? Because see, it's not only about the ROI of actually saving cost. As I gave you the example, it's a much bigger thing, because for example the political angle that I gave you, right? The worst scenario could be that if I'm not able to take these calls, the opposition party may come to my office and do a dharna. That this is that insurance company who has shaken hands with the ruling party is not giving the claims, right? You are all over the media. Now what is the ROI that you want to calculate for that goodwill loss, right? And that entire hassle.
I'm sure would have seen an improvement in the customer satisfaction as with CSAT or NPS with that.
So just to put a number, CSAT, it's a 5-star rating, we all know, right? When these farmers were talking to the human, our 5-star rating was 3.6. When they are talking to this bot, the 5-star rating is 4.9.
That's a great improvement. Thanks, Ankit. We'll connect.
So my question is in regard to how you went about doing this thing, So one option is you can have your own internal team which develops these kind of applications. Second is you take a platform of any of the hyperscaler, Google, Amazon, AWS, etc., and you build on top of their they have bots in that. And third is, of course, you can take third-party SaaS, Yellow Messenger, Jinani, voice bots, stuff like that. So which one did you choose and why?
See, our take is very simple here, okay? And not only for this, for any technology sake. If we are not the expert of that line, why really think about it? Give it to the experts. Let them do it. Right? So there are some AI models which we have built in-house. Like for example, claims that I talked about, the motor on the spot. That is a 100% in-house developed model. We have not given it to anyone because that is our expertise. The claims handling is our expertise. Nobody has that, right? But when you talk about these voice bots, we don't know. We are not the voice bots creator. So give it to the service providers in the market who are better equipped to deliver this, right? So that's a very simple strategy. If you have the expertise in-house, don't look outside, build it, right? If you don't have it, don't think twice. Just go ahead and roll out the RFP, look out for the service providers and sign the contracts. Thank you guys.